Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. Last month, my brother found out his soon-to-be ex-wife had been cheating on him. It was really ducked up, since he's done so much for her. Both of my parents hated her so much, since she has a very shaky history. Pretty sure they hired a PI, and found out she's been running away from home since she was 14, been in the system, addicted to D, went to rehab, etc. She met my brother at a point where she was stable and had a job and everything, but they still hated her since she refused to talk about her family and past. When she got pregnant with my nephew back in 2018, my parents were both mad and didn't think the baby was my brother's. At that point, they didn't speak badly about her since my brother threatened to never speak to them again if they didn't accept her, so they were fakely liking her, but always talking badly about her behind her back. One day, I was coming back from school when my nephew was like a year, and I walked into my mom putting something in his mouth and then putting it into a bag. I asked her what the hell she's doing, and she told me to mind my business. I walked over and saw she had some Amazon DNA kit she ordered. I asked her why she's doing that, and she said that she needs to make sure he's actually related to us. I told my mom our brother would be mad, and she told me there's no way he'd find out. She told me I can't tell him, and that if I do, she won't pay for my car or my college. I asked her if she's serious since she's never threatened me, and she said yes, and that she's not even telling my dad. I thought it was super ducked up, and a few weeks later, my mom told me the results were in, and she's the grandmother. After that, she became much nicer to my ex-sister-in-law, so that took some guilt off me. Once it was exposed she cheated and they broke up, my mom couldn't wait to tell my brother that she always knew she was an S, and even got the baby tested because she needed to make sure. My brother got extremely upset at my mom and started asking me and my dad if we knew. My dad swore he didn't know, and when my brother asked me, I couldn't lie again. I told him I knew, but mom threatened me, but he didn't care and isn't speaking to me. I was upset at first and felt bad, but it's been a week and I don't care that he's mad at me for not telling him. I was being threatened and was literally 17. My brother came over yesterday and we spoke, and he asked me to apologize like our mom just did. I said no, and he got mad again, saying I'm an a-hole. I'm going with not the a-hole. You were only 17, still a kid. Your mom threatened you. She threatened your entire future by saying she wouldn't pay for your college. Your mom is the only true a-hole. Not the a-hole, because you were 17 and your mom was threatening you. However, at this point, I think you can tell your brother you hated not telling him and were sorry for what your mom did. He has every right to be angry, and I'm sure validating how wrong it was will go a long way. I understand you not telling, but I also understand him being mad. I would be going out of my way to mend fences and earn his trust back. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole. This is a crappy situation that your mom put you in. She never should have threatened you, and she never should have DNA tested that baby. You were being threatened with no more financial support as a 17-year-old, and I can understand why you didn't tell him. I do sympathize with your brother, though. This isn't easy for him. I have never gotten along with my sister-in-law. I find her to be lazy, selfish, loud, and demanding. The only good thing about her are my 3 nephews, ages 5 to 12. My brother and sister-in-law are flat broke from their various business ventures and are really struggling. I've stepped up many times with financial assistance. For example, I'm the one who paid for my nephew's extracurricular activities. Recently, their financial situation got so bad that they can barely afford groceries. They were literally splitting peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That was unacceptable, and I offered to buy them weekly groceries. They accepted my help. I don't do online grocery shopping because most of the time they get the order wrong or don't have what I want, so I just go to the store. I'd get an email from my bro or sister-in-law asking for stuff. I'd buy their groceries with mine and then drop their stuff off. It's not the money that annoys me. It's the extra work of bagging and going to the opposite direction of my house to drop off their stuff. Again, I do it for my nephews, and it gives me a chance to see them. This week, I did the grocery shopping on my lunch break and texted my sister-in-law to come outside to get their stuff. My brother was out on interviews, and my nephews were at school. She just said to leave the groceries on the doorstep. I said I'm not Uber Eats. I'm doing you a favor by feeding your family, So give me the respect of at least coming to the door and acknowledging me. Show me some respect for the time, money, and effort that I've put in. No, she wasn't in a situation where she could not have taken a minute to do this. She was probably on social media. She came to the door and had a bad attitude. I told her that if my buying and dropping off groceries was too much work for her, then I won't do it anymore. Later, my brother called to find out what happened, and I told him. He said my sister-in-law said I was volatile towards her, and she didn't understand why. I told him that she knew, and now I'm not doing Christmas if she doesn't get on the phone to apologize to me. She did, and blamed her hormones. I told her that I don't care about her hormones. I'm not going to let her disrespect me and let her think that she gets a pass by blaming her hormones. So yes, I'll cancel Christmas if she's going to be rude to me. I'd hate for that to happen, but that's on my brother and sister-in-law to burden. And it's not her hormones. She's always had this nasty attitude. It's not new. Edit. If she had a good reason as to why she couldn't answer the door, then she would have said so. Edit. Saying that a woman can get a pass for being a jerk as long as she blames her hormones is like saying a man can get a pass for being a jerk by saying boys will be boys. Not the a-hole. It's basic respect to come out and help unload and say thank you when people bring you stuff, especially if that stuff is for your kids. Look, your sister-in-law's attitude sucks. She's not grateful. She should be a better person, but she's not. I think you should just accept this as the person your sister-in-law is. Why make things contingent on her apology? It's going to be a fake forced apology anyway, and it won't make her a better, more grateful person. You need to tell yourself, knowing my sister-in-law is an ungrateful jerk, do I want to buy the family groceries, host Christmas? You are doing this for the kids, you say, and it's not the kids' fault their mom sucks. So don't do things for the kids contingent on sister-in-law being the ray of sunshine she isn't. Either do it for the kids you care about despite sister-in-law, or don't do it. But don't set the kids up to only get something if their mom comes through. If that was happening, they wouldn't need you to buy groceries. Have you already told the kids you are hosting or doing whatever it is for Christmas? If you have, personally I'd keep your word. The children have no control of their parents' behavior. Even if you haven't told them, I personally would still want to do something for Christmas for the boys, since it really sucks to be a kid with no holidays and not even have any food because school is out. It's not your job, but if you care about them and you are going to do something kind for them, it sort of sucks to make that contingent on their mother being decent. Their mother isn't decent. We already know that. And so saying you can have food and presents on Christmas, but only if you can somehow make your mom be nice, is really rough. I'm glad you're willing and able to help, but it does sound as though it's starting to wear on you. Have you given them a date to have their situation more stable? I ask because a situation that could have been settled with a conversation has you threatening to cancel Christmas. You are already doing a lot for them, so the thought of any level of perceived disrespect is too much to bear, because you're bearing too much. You need limits and boundaries, for your sake and theirs. My partner, 34 male, and I, 32 female, have been together for 2.5 years and are planning on getting engaged soon. I don't know when, where he'll pop the question, but sometime in 2023. He's been very upfront that he wants me to have as much input as possible on my engagement ring, and we're working with a company that designs and makes custom rings. Here's where my dilemma comes in. I've never wanted a diamond ring. I understand the classic appeal, and diamonds are gorgeous. It's just not for me. Instead, I want a sapphire ring. Blue is one of my favorite colors, and I have bright blue eyes. My partner also tells me that my eyes are what he noticed first about me, and he regularly tells me how much he loves them. Whenever I imagine my wedding day, I'm wearing a sapphire ring. When we were visiting my family for the holidays, my mom asked about the ring, and I told her that we were still working on a design, but that it'd be a sapphire. My older sister, 35 female, overheard this and lost it. Sapphire is her birthstone, and throughout our childhoods, we always got color-coordinated stuff. Blue for her, red for me. Garnet is my birthstone. Like if we got sweaters, mine would be red and hers would be blue. I've never really liked red, but that's just the way it was. My sister said that she couldn't believe that I was considering a sapphire ring when I knew it was her birthstone. She told me I was pathetic and attention-seeking for getting a non-diamond ring, and that I should know that blue is her color. She said that everyone in the family will think it's weird and inappropriate for my engagement ring to have her birthstone. For some extra info, My sister doesn't wear sapphire jewelry with any regularity, and she got married 4 years ago. Her engagement ring and wedding band both have diamonds. It's not like I'm stealing sapphires or a ring idea from her. Would I be the a-hole for going with my original dream ring, even if it pisses off my sister? Your sister has claimed the color blue? That's ballsy and hysterical. By the way, my birthstone is also garnet, and my engagement ring is a sapphire. What does birthstone have to do with anything? Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your sister doesn't own a color, a gemstone, a month, or a day. She is being ridiculous and spouting nonsense. Does she police everyone in the world? Is nobody allowed to have a sapphire ring, or just you? She's incredibly immature. Design the ring of your dreams with the gemstone you want. I love sapphires, but I didn't know your sister has the monopoly on them. To repeat, nobody owns the rights to the gemstone associated with their birth month. Set boundaries, because this is probably one of the most ridiculous questions. Not the a-hole. Your sister is way overreacting. If you were born in April, would she have gotten something besides a diamond because that's April's birthstone? Get whatever jewelry you want for your rings. It's also weird that it's become such a focus that you got color-coordinated stuff when you don't like that color. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. My brother, 42 male, and his fiancée, 39 female, are getting married. I, 36 male, live with my parents who are in their 80s. My brother pays rent for the home. However, he lives in his apartment, but will be moving back into his house and told me he wants me to move out, knowing I can't afford my own apartment. I'm a military reserve part-time soldier, and my brother is a mailman and realtor. My parents and I have lived with my brother for 10 years now, and now he wants me to move out without having any sort of plan or housing arrangement in place for me. He knows I don't make much, only roughly $12K a year, since I only work every other weekend, or when I am getting scheduled for drill, which obviously isn't often. I told him that I would move if he would allow me to live inside the apartment that he is currently living at, but he has declined, and won't allow me to without giving any sort of reasoning. I feel it is his fiancée who encouraged him to go down this endeavor of putting me onto the streets so suddenly, when my brother never mentioned any of the such on having any despair feelings of me moving out. In our culture, it is common for family to live together under one roof. I told him there's no way I'm moving unless I'm being allowed to stay in the apartment. Edit. Wow, I've just logged back into my Reddit and looked at these comments, and you guys are pitiful. Not sure why I've been ruled the a-hole, but in case of a different judgment, I would also like to add that I've been in the military since 2013 and do volunteer work once a month aside from doing drill. I'm also a full-time content creator with gaming, so I'm not just doing nothing. You're the a-hole, just thinking you could get by on a reservist salary. You're the a-hole, thinking it was perfectly acceptable and adult to have your brother, not even your parents for duck's sake, pay your way through life. You're the a-hole, believing that any other adult would and could continue to pay for your lifestyle forever. I mean, come on, what was your plan had your brother died tomorrow? You're the a-hole because of all of this. Not once did you think about how any of this is going to affect your geriatric parents. Where are they supposed to go? Go ducking enlist full-time and learn some self-respect, self-motivation, and basic common sense. My man, get your stuff together. You're not your brother's responsibility. It's his house. If he says get out, then you're going to have to put your big boy underwear on and get a job outside your weekend soldier cosplay. You're the a-hole. You are 36. You officially were an adult at 18 years ago. You have lived far too long on your brother's dime, and it's time to adult. Good for your brother that he recognizes this would be an infringement on his relationship with his fiancée, to have his grown brother continue as his dependent for zero reason. Set some goals, get some life counseling, get a job, spread your wings and fly. I am a mom of 3. My oldest daughter, Gracie, is from my first marriage. She's just turned 17. I have Milo 10 and Lyric 7 with my current husband. My ex-husband and I separated after Gracie's first birthday because he told me he wanted to see other women and wanted me to wait for him. I did not, and I filed for divorce. He always remained part of Gracie's life, but he made it clear he only wanted me when it suited him. After the divorce, I met my current husband. Gracie was 4 before she was introduced to him. Her dad was angry when I found someone else. He hated my husband, and Gracie always knew it. I went through the courts when my ex would not stop bad-mouthing my husband to Gracie and did not leave her out of the adult issues we were having. The courts were not helpful at all and sent us to co-parenting classes. Gracie was hesitant with my husband. She adored her dad and didn't want him to feel hurt. This is something she told a therapist when she was young. Then, when she was 8, her dad died, and it feels like ever since then, there was no way my husband could be anything to her. We never expected him to be her dad, but to be someone she trusts and cares about. Gracie holds him at arm's length and doesn't treat him like a member of her family. She doesn't include him like she does extended family. An example was last March. She was spotlighted in her art club. She sent a group chat message to me, both sets of grandparents and her uncles and aunts, but did not include my husband. I mentioned it to my husband when I got home, and she'd made it home before me and still hadn't told him. I brought it up to her, and she said he wasn't on the need-to-know list for her. It hurts my husband, and I've tried to facilitate their relationship to be more, but I don't think it was enough. A couple of days ago, Gracie was saying she needed help with some engineering questions, and she wanted to go over to my brother-in-law's, sister's husband, brother's house to ask him some questions. I asked her why she had to go to all that trouble when my husband could have answered the questions for her. She said it made more sense to her to ask her uncle's brother. This is when I told her I don't like how she does that, how she treats my husband like he's not there, like he's not part of the family. I told her we never ever asked her to replace her dad or to consider them the same, but she excludes him and keeps him out, and he has only ever been kind to her. I told her it's something I would like her to work on. She got mad and told me I chose to marry him. She didn't choose to have him in her life. She also said it wasn't my business what their relationship is like. I told her I'm her mom and I love her, and I'm his wife and I love him, and I just want them to get along. She's still angry at me, and I'm trying to figure out if I did the wrong thing here. Am I the a-hole? I'll say no a-holes. I think you and Gracie are both coming from genuine emotional places. Neither of you said anything trying to hurt the other. It's just very natural for you to want her to have a good relationship with your husband. It's also pretty natural for her, given her life story as you presented it, to not feel that close to him. And while it would certainly be very nice if she did put in more effort with him, I don't think it should be required of her. Not the a-hole, for what you said to her. Sadly, your ex may have completely poisoned Gracie's mind when she was very young, to where she's turned into this hateful teen towards your husband. I don't think there's ever going to be recovery from this. And shame on the courts as well. I'm sorry you're having to be stuck in the middle on this. I'd say your now deceased ex is the true a-hole.